All right, I want you to take a look at this map. It's become a little familiar over the last 2 weeks after the conservative Supreme Court overturned the constitutionally protected right to an abortion. You may have seen it. We've used it on the show before. And it shows you where bans immediately went into effect in state after state. The dark red are the ones that basically banned abortion. There are 16 already in total, with 2 put on hold by the courts. The lighter red are the states in the process of putting those bans in place. Now, there's a few states that stand out here. One that really does stand out to me is Kansas. Kansas is a very conservative state where abortion is still accessible right now. And that is due to a 2019 state Supreme Court decision, which found the state constitution of Kansas secures the right of a woman to, quote, make her own decisions regarding her body, health, family formation, and family life, decisions that include whether to continue a pregnancy. Not surprisingly, anti-abortion activists and Republicans are now trying to overturn that ruling with a high-stakes ballot organizing effort, and they have tried to stack the deck in their favor by holding the vote to basically change the Constitution during the August primary election, which typically draws, far fewer voters than a general election, and also will almost certainly see higher Republican turnout for their contested gubernatorial nomination. But that said, people on the side of abortion rights are also mobilizing and have launched a public campaign, including this ad, which I think is a very clever way of trying to reach voters in a deeply conservative state about the right to privacy that surrounds abortion.
They call it a constitutional amendment. The truth, it's a strict government mandate designed to interfere with private medical decisions, a slippery slope that could put more of your individual and personal rights at risk. The ballot language is confusing, but one thing is clear. Kansans don't want another government mandate. So on August 2nd, send a message. Say no to more government control. Vote no on changing the Constitution.
Joining me now is the former Democratic governor of Kansas, Kathleen Sebelius. It's great to have you on, and I've been following this very closely. First, maybe if you could just tell us, how present is this in people's consciousness there? I'm a little worried that it's going to go under the radar, although obviously the Dobbs-Roe news is huge.
Well, Chris, nice to be with you. The Republican legislature specifically and very cynically intended for this to go under the radar. This decision was made by the court in 2019, and it actually was a multi-jurisdiction effort, which started with a protest over a Kansas law in 2015. The legislature passed a restrictive law. Doctors sued, saying it was overly restrictive, but they sued not under the protection of the federal Constitution, but they sued under the Kansas Constitution. Made its way through the court in a 6-1 Supreme Court decision issued in 2019. The Supreme Court justices said, you're absolutely right. The Kansas Constitution actually has broad protection of individual rights. And this is a natural, inalienable right belonging to all of the citizens of Kansas, certainly including the women of Kansas. So very strong decision. The Republican legislature then crafted a very confusing amendment, intentionally confusing, and chose the lowest possible turnout election, a primary in a midterm, not a presidential year, not anything else. So it's a vote in 3 weeks, very intentionally trying under the radar. What they didn't figure is that the Dobbs decision would come down in this kind of timely manner and really galvanize people in Kansas to take a look at what the situation could be.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously, you were the governor of that state. There's currently a Democratic governor in the state of Kansas. It's a fairly conservative state at the presidential level. It's a very Republican state and has been very Republican for a very long time, going all the way back to the founding of the Republican Party, actually. I thought the polling, there's 2 things interesting. One, the timing of this vote suggests a little lack of confidence on the part of the people trying to push for it. And I thought this polling from the Kansas Speak survey, which is, again, it's December of last year, but it says, 60% agree women are a better position than politicians to make choices about abortion. 60% agree, 14% disagree. The Kansas government should not place any regulations on circumstances under which women get abortions. Agree, 50 to 25. Now, again, all polling you have to take with a grain of salt, but as someone who was elected statewide with your politics on abortion, where do you think Kansans are on this?
Well, I think Kansas voters have proven that they are willing to vote for pro-choice elected officials statewide. I was a elected governor 2 terms. We have a pro-choice governor right now. We have people who are elected in Kansas. The issue is not what the regulations are in place. And Kansas has pretty, standard abortion regulations about parental consent and waiting periods and a whole variety of things. None of that changes. This is really whether the Kansas legislature should be allowed to totally ban abortion without any exceptions for rape or incest. This would allow the Kansas legislature to really follow some of the other states that have totally eliminated a woman's opportunity to make her own health choices. And I think Kansans, if they understand what's at risk, will oppose that kind of sweeping mandate by the government, a forced birth mandate, if you will. Whatever happens, you're going to carry pregnancy to term, whether you're healthy or not, whether you're capable or not, whether, this engenders, your health in the future or the other children in your family. I mean, none of that matters. We will force you to carry a birth to term. And I don't think most Kansans feel that that's what they want the legislature to do.
There's, as you said, this was calendared before the Dobbs decision, partly because the anti-abortion politicians are thinking ahead because, they want to be able to outlaw abortion as soon as Dobbs comes down. You said it's been galvanized folks who are organizing the Vote No movement. That's the no vote on the constitutional amendment. Crowds of marchers turned out to rally in Wichita. Are you confident that there is a mobilization happening?
Well, tomorrow is the deadline for people to register to vote. The other issue about a primary election, Chris, is in Kansas, typically people who are independents don't vote in primaries. Right? You see primaries as a partisan choice. And frankly, Democrats don't have very many primaries. So primaries are typically Republicans choosing among multiple candidates. Our real challenge, those of us who strongly believe that a no vote is the appropriate way for Kansas to go forward, is to make sure people know. Make sure people register and vote in August. If we can do that, I think the no votes will prevail.